Imagine scrolling through Instagram and seeing a young woman living the dream. Glamorous photo shoots, exotic backdrops, the promise of fame and wealth. Now imagine that same woman, just months later, standing on the edge of a balcony in Dubai, moments away from tragedy. This is the story of Mona Kizz, better known online as Mona Kizz. A story that begins with ambition and ends with unanswered questions. It is a story about the dangerous intersection of social media, human trafficking, and the hidden world behind Dubai's glimmering skyline. Mona Kizz was born and raised in Uganda. By all accounts, she was bright, social, and deeply ambitious. Like many young women across Africa, she dreamed of more than what her home country could offer, more than the limitations of poverty and fewer opportunities. Social media gave her a window into another world, one where models, influencers, and so-called boss babes seemed to live in luxury, flying first class, dining in high-end restaurants, and posing in five-star hotels. Mona wanted that life. And on Instagram, it looked attainable. Dubai has long been marketed as a playground for the rich and famous, glittering skyscrapers, extravagant lifestyles, and a booming influencer culture. But behind that luxury lies another reality, one that isn't posted on Instagram. For young women from East Africa, Dubai holds a dangerous allure. Many are recruited with promises of modeling contracts, hospitality jobs, or brand partnerships. Some opportunities are real, but many others are carefully constructed traps set by traffickers, scammers, and exploiters who prey on ambition. For Mona, the chance to leave Uganda and become a model in Dubai felt like her big break. She packed her dreams and her life into a suitcase and boarded that plane. At first, her social media presence reflected the excitement of her new life. Photos from high-rise apartments, snapshots at glamorous spots in the city. She looked like she was finally living the dream she always wanted. But then, something shifted. Friends and followers began to notice darker undertones in her posts. She stopped smiling as brightly. Her captions felt more cryptic, and she seemed trapped. This is where the story takes a chilling turn. According to reports from other women with similar experiences, many modeling opportunities in Dubai are fronts for sex trafficking networks. Recruiters lure women with glamorous promises, only for them to arrive and discover the truth. Their passports are confiscated, their movements restricted, and they are forced into exploitative sex work. This system is brutal. Victims are threatened, beaten, and told they owe debts for their travel, housing, or agency fees. Some women manage to escape. Many others remain stuck in silence, afraid, ashamed, and unheard. It is alleged that Mona found herself in this exact nightmare. Friends later recalled that her voice notes and private messages grew more desperate. She felt trapped in a cycle she couldn't escape. Some say she hinted at threats from people controlling her. Others suggest she was battling shame and isolation. But online? To the outside world? She still had to present the illusion. She was still Mona Kizz, the aspiring influencer. This double life is common among victims of trafficking. The facade of luxury hides the reality of coercion. In late May 2022, disturbing videos began circulating online. They showed a young woman standing on the balcony of a high-rise apartment in Dubai. She looked distressed. Moments later, she climbed onto the edge and jumped. That woman was Mona Kizz. The footage quickly spread on social media, often without context or sensitivity. Many who watched had no idea of the story behind it, or of the larger system that might have pushed her to that moment. Was it suicide brought on by despair? Was she driven to it by the traffickers who controlled her? Or was there something even darker at play? News of Mona's death shocked her followers back in Uganda. The glamorous influencer persona clashed with the reality of a young woman dying so tragically far from home. Conversations exploded online about what had really happened to her. Some blamed the dark underbelly of Dubai's nightlife. Others pointed to the growing crisis of human trafficking. Many were simply heartbroken. Another young life cut short, another dream destroyed. Mona's story is not isolated. Thousands of women from Uganda, Kenya, Nigeria, and other parts of Africa are recruited into Dubai each year under false pretenses. Many end up in exploitative conditions. Some disappear. Her case became a rallying point for activists who demanded more protection for migrant workers and greater awareness of how traffickers use social media to lure victims. But despite the outcry, questions still linger. Did Mona take her own life? Was she pushed, physically or psychologically, by those controlling her? And most importantly, who benefited from her silence? We'll dive deeper. We'll explore the investigation into her death, testimonies from women who lived through similar nightmares, and the chilling patterns of exploitation that suggest Mona's story was not an accident, but part of a much larger machine. Because behind every influencer post, every glossy promise, there might be a hidden reality waiting to claim another victim. On May 14, 2022, the body of Mona Kizz, known online as Mona Kizz, was found on the pavement below a high-rise building in Dubai. Just hours earlier, a viral video had captured her last moments, standing on a balcony, looking desperate, and then stepping off into silence. But what looked like a tragic suicide was, for many, only the beginning of deeper questions. What really happened to Mona? Who was responsible for her suffering? And how many more women are caught in the same nightmare? Authorities in Dubai were quick to classify her death as a suicide. A case closed, at least on paper. But for her family, friends, and followers, the explanation was far too simple. This wasn't just about a young woman choosing to end her life. This was about a larger system, one that traps women, silences them, and leaves them with no way out. To understand Mona's death, you have to peel back the layers of Dubai's glittering image. For decades, the city has relied on migrant labor, workers from Africa, Asia, and beyond who build the skyscrapers, clean the hotels, and serve in the restaurants. But alongside this legitimate labor market lies a darker trade: sex trafficking. Young women are promised jobs in modeling, hospitality, or entertainment. Once they arrive, their passports are taken, and they are told they owe debts for the plane ticket, the apartment, or even the training they received. The debts are impossible to repay, and the only way out, they're told, is to work them off through sex. After Mona's death, other women began speaking out. Survivors described being locked in apartments, threatened with violence, or told their families back home would be harmed if they resisted. One Ugandan woman shared in an interview, "They tell you you're going to be a model. Then when you arrive, they tell you the truth. You belong to them. You have no passport, no rights, no choice." For many, suicide becomes a desperate escape from captivity. Mona wasn't the first to fall from a balcony in Dubai, and tragically, she may not be the last. The circulation of Mona's final moments online only fueled public anger. People were outraged that her suffering became viral content, shared without dignity or respect. But the footage also forced people to confront a truth they might have ignored. This wasn't just a private tragedy. It was evidence of a public crisis. Back in Uganda, Mona's family struggled with grief and confusion. They couldn't understand how their daughter, so full of life and ambition, ended up in such a dark place. Her death sparked conversations across Ugandan media about the dangers of overseas recruitment. Parents, community leaders, and activists began warning young women to be cautious of too-good-to-be-true offers. But warnings alone aren't enough when poverty and lack of opportunity make the promises of Dubai so tempting. Mona's story also exposed the darker side of Instagram culture. Recruiters know exactly how to prey on ambition. They use luxury lifestyles as bait, showing young women that they too can have designer clothes, rooftop parties, and global travel, if only they accept the opportunity. But what isn't shown are the locked doors, the debts, the abuse, and the exploitation waiting on the other side. One of the most chilling aspects of Mona's case is the silence. Despite widespread discussion online, little was done officially. Dubai authorities rarely prosecute trafficking cases openly, and victims who die often leave behind only whispers, not justice. The women most affected, migrants, poor, often undocumented, are seen as disposable. Their stories rarely make headlines unless they die in a way that's impossible to ignore. Mona's death fits a disturbing pattern. Human rights groups have documented numerous cases of young women falling from high-rise balconies in Dubai under suspicious circumstances. In many cases, these women had links to the sex trade, often forced into it against their will. Was Mona's fall a suicide? Was it an accident? Or was it staged? A way to erase a problem for those running the trafficking networks? The truth may never be known. What Mona's story reveals is bigger than one tragedy. It highlights the vulnerability of migrant workers, especially women from poorer nations. The role of social media in luring victims with the illusion of wealth and status. The lack of accountability from systems that allow trafficking to flourish in plain sight. Her case became a rallying cry for activists demanding stronger protections, safer migration pathways, and more international pressure on trafficking hubs. Though Mona's life ended tragically, her story continues to be told. For many, she symbolizes the hidden dangers behind the Instagram dream. She is a reminder that not everything online is as it seems, and that real lives are often caught in the shadows of curated luxury. Her death sparked awareness campaigns in Uganda and beyond, urging young women to research opportunities carefully, seek verified contracts, and understand the risks of overseas recruitment. In the end, the story of Mona Kizz is not just about one woman's fall. It is about a system that preys on the vulnerable, profits from silence, and hides its crimes behind glass towers and bright lights. Her final moments, captured on video, forced the world to look. And while the questions remain, while justice remains out of reach, her story continues to echo as a warning, a tragedy, and a call to action. Because behind every Instagram post promising paradise, there may be a darker reality waiting. And for too many, like Mona, that reality ends not in fame or fortune, but in silence. This was part 2 of the tragic story of Mona Kizz, aka Mona Kizz. What do you think really happened to her? Was this a desperate act of escape, or the result of something far more sinister? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into stories like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because in the world of true crime, the truth is often hidden in plain sight.